Hello everyone, welcome back to my YouTube channel. So today I'm going to teach you how to bake chin chin without using parchment paper and without using oven. So I've added my sugar. So the next thing I'm going to add, I'm going to put all the measurements in the description box below. And the next thing I'm going to add my baking powder. So the purpose of me doing this video is for those that really want to bake chin chin and they don't really have oven. So like I said, I didn't use oven, I used the pot to bake it. So people also know it as a local oven though, but I used the pot to bake it. And the next thing I added was my baking powder, my nutmeg, my vanilla flavor, my milk flavor. You can decide to use only one flavor if you like. That is, you can decide to use only milk flavor or vanilla flavor. Then I put my salt and I make sure that I put everything. So immediately you put powder to powder, that is your flour, all these are your powder ingredients. So you mix everything together. They are also known as the dry ingredients. So I mix everything together. So after mixing everything together, I added my margarine. So you can decide to use butter. It's not compulsory to use margarine. There's a difference between margarine and butter. So I use my margarine for this particular recipe, for this particular baked chin chin. I use margarine for it. So after putting my margarine, I mixed everything together. So you have to mix it very well before adding your egg, or if you like, you can decide to add your egg immediately you add your margarine. But for this particular one, after adding my margarine, I mix everything together before adding my egg. So after I add my egg together, I started mixing everything together. Mix it very well. You know, it's chin chin you are doing. Mix it so that everything can go well. So I mix everything together. So after mixing everything together, I make a hole at the middle, or you will at the middle. I added water. You start adding water gradually. Don't add enough water, because once you start cutting, it will start sticking together. So chin chin don't really like enough water. Just add the water gradually and mix it. So once everything have formed together, so the next thing you are going to do after it has formed together, you can decide to leave it 5 minutes, 10 minutes before cutting, or you can start cutting it directly. So once you are done mixing everything together, you just keep aside and you add your flour. You can use the flour you are using. You can flour any of your table, maybe the table you are using, or any surface that you are using for the chin chin. So once you flour the surface that you are using, the next thing you are going to do, you are going to start cutting it. So you start cutting it into smaller pieces. You can decide to cut it maybe 6 pieces or any amount of pieces that you want to cut it. The issue is that cut what you can be able to roll, so that it will be easy for you to roll. That's why I'm cutting. You can decide to roll everything once. If you look closely, I've already cut the particular one that I know I can roll very well. Some people normally cut it just one. Some people don't even cut it into how many pieces. But the reason why I'm doing this, like I said earlier, so that it will be easy for you to roll. You can use your rolling pin to roll. You can look at the video very well. I use rolling pin, or you can use bottle. Anything that I know that it will be easier for you. But the rolling pin make the work very easy and beautiful. So the next thing I did, I started cutting it long. You see it how long it is. And some people normally bake, you can bake it like this if you want. You can decide to do it like this. Some people normally fry it like this, and this particular measurement and particular procedure is the same thing as, also you can also use this particular recipe to fry if you don't want to bake it. But I'm going to bake this particular video. Like I said, I'm doing it for people that love baking chin, that love baking, they don't like any frying products. So if they don't have oven, they can decide to use their pot to do it. So after cutting it straight, the next thing I did, I started cutting it small. Like I just cut it in the normal and chin chin shape, like we all know. So you can decide to cut it any shape of your own choice. So the next thing I used was my baking pan. You can decide to use baking tray, but the reason why I'm using baking pan is because I'm not doing in a large quantity. If I'm doing in a large quantity, I'm going to use my baking tray. I'll just put everything once. So I added my margarine. You can use your butter, you can use your vegetable oil, then use your brush to brush the baking pan or the baking tray. So make sure that you use your brush to brush it very well. Like I said, you can use your vegetable oil, you can use your margarine or butter. But this particular video, I use margarine. So I put my flour. The reason why I'm putting this flour, so that the chin chin will come out nice and it will not stick together. If you look at the chin chin very well, you realize that it is not sticking together. There are some chin that one will do and it will be sticking together. It's because of too much of water. So once you are doing chin did not require enough water, just little water. Make sure that you mix it very well so that everything will mix together. So the next thing I added was, I just dip my brush in a vegetable oil and I started rubbing the surface of the chin. So just rub everything with vegetable oil. So once you are, the reason why I'm adding this vegetable oil to it, so that it will come out fine once it's baked, and so that it will not be that dry once it's baked. And it's not compulsory you can use vegetable oil. You can decide to melt your margarine or your butter. Once you melt it, you just dip your brush into it and start brushing the surface. So the next thing I put was my salt. If you are putting salt, you make sure that the pot you are using is pot you are not using to cook, so that it will be your permanent pot for baking. So once the salt is hot, you put your chin inside. So you'll be checking it maybe every 10 minutes. So once you remove every 10 minutes, you brush with vegetable oil or your melted butter or your melted margarine. Then you put it back to the oven. So after then, our chin is baked. Please don't forget to like, subscribe and share. Thank you so much. More videos are coming.